All right, and welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Wednesday, December 27th, 2023. If you've not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So markets here today all over the map. And again, for it being the light volume holiday period, I think we only did like 50 or 60 million shares on the spiders. Let me see, 60. So we had a little bit of a pop into the close, so about 64 million with that last little surge you're going to see right there. But light volume here, but we had quite a battle. So down move, little gap down, rallied up. We tried to roll over and we couldn't. And then back up here, and then we got a big pop off the bond auction. So yields really coming in here, and got up to the highs of yesterday, tried to consolidate, and then somebody came in again in the futures market and tried to whack this thing down one more time. It's not really working, is it? You know, they've tried it 3 times in the last week, and you're going to see every dip was bought. So we had the big one last Wednesday, a little retest the previous day, and then again on Friday, I talked about this extensively. They tried to do it again, and that dip was bought, and we're higher again. So they keep attempting these shakeouts. I talked about 4,800 on the SPX as being a target for kind of the zero DTE traders, and that looks like we're going to get there now. And the reason I say that is, if you take a look at this previous high, 475.90, you're going to see we closed well above that, and they did not they slammed the door. Like, I was watching this into literally the last minutes of the day, and this is important to me, is when these levels matter. But take a look, and then there's the SPX 4778.01. I tweeted about this saying above or below this would tell the story today. And if you go to like a 1 minute, you're going to see we were right on the cusp, right on the edge, right? And then last second, bam, they just took it off. So again, whoever shorted down here is now underwater, and bottom line is we closed above that. That was the last line of defense, keeping us off of 4,800 essentially. And subsequently the all-time high, you can see that it's drawn in right there. There's your yellow line, 48.18, spot 62. So, but who's keeping track at this point? But markets here, I would give them the upside bias at least to 48, possibly to 48.18. It's like 35, 40 points away. It's not that far. Again, I keep saying this, I would have preferred us to just pull back here and then do it, but the market's getting overbought, and it's the end of the year. It's very hard for any downside to be realized. I just talked to you guys about this a few seconds ago. Like, every time they try to hit it, you can't get follow through, right? Their volume's too light. And it just, you're not going to get realized volatility in this type of environment. So plus, again, like, the closer you get to a level as important as this, an all-time high, it's the market just like a magnet. It just wants to get there. And do they pull the rug first? It's possible. I mean, they've tried pulling it 3 times now, and it has not worked. So I'm just giving the market the upside bias to that area. And again, we have a technical reason for it now, because we have closed above that pivot high, which is the only thing keeping us down. And by the way, we had 103 million shares in that candle. So that got taken out. If we look at the Qs, that got taken out yesterday. So that was already kind of a leading indicator there. And the Qs here were up 62 cents. I don't see any problems here. Apple here was really kind of looking for this to get to 190, but I talked about this, and we were in the trading room earlier. I said, if Apple can turn around, this market will get its footing. And we came down, it tried to break down, and they reversed it really quickly, and that was the low of the day here. The market started to float back up. So again, Apple, which has been a laggard lately, starting to get a little bit of a bid there, and shaping up a little bit better. Tesla also, that one's been a hot commodity lately. A lot of people looking for a breakout here. I could see it up to about 267, and that's really about it. But, good pattern there on the hourly. That's set up for a possible continuation. These are just plays that I'm looking at that could possibly take off if this market does, continue higher, like I think it will. Anyways, Dow here, again, same deal. So 376.34, and did we close above that? Yes, we did. So you got all the indices above that red bar pivot, including the Russell, which did it yesterday as well. So again, we're above that. Now the Russell, to be fair, that did go into some resistance, 204.80. We talked about that. Hey, we closed 2 pennies above it, right? So that's exactly, look at it right there. 204.80. You can see it right there on the high, and 2 pennies above on the IWM. Granted, that doesn't mean that we're just going to shoot through it, but we closed above it. Sometimes you could pierce the level and then come back in the next day. I'm not saying that it's not overbought or extended, which it is, but that is into that level. And obviously, we talked about this before too. 210 is kind of I think that's kind of like the ultimate target for the Russell here before we get any sort of major correction. But, it doesn't mean we can't get backing and filling off of this area. We are very extended on the IWM. But again, we're going to give the market the upside bias until the holidays, at least until the holidays are over. It's just, like I said, it's just so difficult to get any sort of realized downside in this type of environment. SMH here up another 19 cents. That is a new all-time closing high. So SMH still in rally mode. Did we get above that? So 170. Well, we closed exactly to the penny. So exactly to the penny on that tail candle. Technically, that is not broken out, although, come on, it's basically there. The stocks have broken out. We did that yesterday. So again, we'll give the semis the benefit of the doubt for now. I still think this can go to 43. And again, that's not a short. That's just an upside objective that we're watching for on the SOX. IGV here, fractionally lower here, but no problems. It's in an uptrend. Everything looks fine. I think it needs to do weekly consolidation, but I'll probably keep saying that until we get a sell signal on it. So transports here backed off a little bit today, down 0.5%. Again, no problems though, right? Trend is up. If this consolidates, it can go higher. And you guys know we're looking for just shy of 17. If it can get there, I'm not saying it does so or does it in a straight line, but that is what the pattern suggests if we take that measured move there. But for right now, transport's backing off. And again, we'll just leave it there and not make too much out of that. All right, interest rates here. So 2-year, let's start off with that as always. So we're probably going to get to 4.15. That's what we talked about, maybe even a little bit of a pierce. That's really all I'm seeing though. So I know everybody right now is talking about rate cuts and everybody's, gung-ho about, a couple weeks ago, everybody was short bonds. Now everybody loves bonds. I am on the other side of that trade, and I'm going to continue to be on the other side of that trade now. Going into next year, I don't see a ton of downside here for any of these yields. So we talked about 3.7 with the 5. Again, doesn't mean you can't pierce by a little bit, but just this general area, I don't see us getting much lower. There's the 10 right around 3.7, 3.65, and the 30-year 3.8. So this is kind of what I'm looking for here. You get a nice little bear pattern there on the daily, and heck, we could get there tomorrow on the 30-year. So and same thing with the 10s. It's not that far away. These levels are very, very close, stone's throw, and I don't really see that much more downside here for yields. And I think they're going to surprise people to the upside in the first quarter next year. But again, we'll get there when we get there, and we'll have to look for a pivot first. But that is my story, and I'm going to stick to it. So XHB here, new all-time high and a new all-time closing high. Again, I'm just going to give it the upside bias to 100. That's really all I can give you there. VNQ did start to curl back up, so we talked about this kind of like a little pullback pattern. And it is starting to push higher. You can make a case. There's like a little trend line there, and then like a little mini flag. So trying to peak above that a little bit and curling back up. Again, it's still a little extended on the weekly, and you still got that 200-week moving average. But if this consolidates here and lets these moving averages catch up, there's nothing to say it can't go higher. Your next big weekly level is right around 95, obviously 94.50. But again, VNQ starting to curl back up, and it's definitely firmed up quite a bit. XLF, same thing, same kind of look to it, right? So kind of like a mini little flag-ish type look, and it is curling back up. I'm giving that the upside bias to 38.25. That number has not changed. KRE upside bias to 56, and KBE 48.25. So that's what I'm looking for there. Broker dealers. So I said yesterday, I don't really have a level for it. You kind of did hit. I just played around with this a little bit. You did kind of hit a measured move already on the XBD. So right about there. Just trying to get this exact. So we already hit it, right? So we basically already hit the measured move yesterday. So again, this is just acting really well. It's overbought. It's extended. But again, the trend is up, and there's nothing to say it can't go higher right now. So again, broker dealers, Still holding up really well here. Oil is getting interesting. So it did pull back a little bit here, down 2.2. I'm kind of watching this pattern though. If this could consolidate sideways, I think this will get to 80. But we'll have to see here. I wouldn't want to see it kind of lose. You definitely don't want to see it lose that moving average there. So that's a 20 period. That would be a little bit of a negative. But if this continues to stay firm here and tight right angle, I think it'll get to 78 and then 80. So crude here, a little interesting. I'm definitely keeping a close eye on it, as I am interested in playing this into the Q1 next year as well. But the question is, does it come down here first, or does it firm up and then push higher? That's really the only question I have. I do think it'll be a good play one way or the other. XLE down 38 cents. This was an interesting one here today too. Had a really nice buy the dip and then faded all day long. So kind of on the weaker side outside of that first little pop there. You know, overall it's okay. I like the weekly. I like what it did on the weekly, kind of little fake breakdown, but I just don't have a good read on it right now. As you guys know, I do like the OIH, though. There's XOP that was fractionally lower today. I do like the OIH, but you know, more so on the bigger time frames. I don't really have any sort of buy signal on it on the daily, or really even the weekly at this point. Uranium via the CCJ. So down 27 cents there. We'll be watching this into the end of the month just because it'll be our first red month since March, which is pretty amazing. And it could mean that, you know, we've been parabolic now for six months. So usually when you get a red month after going parabolic, it means that you're probably about done. That doesn't mean it can't go higher. This trend is very strong, but usually once you start to get that red month, it means that it's starting to get a little long in the tooth and may need to come back in. But again, trend is up, and I'm not one to fight this at all, nor do I have any reason to want to. I'm saying I'm still bullish long-term on uranium. You see the URNM, I like this pattern much better. Nice weekly inside bar, firm, tight, upright, uptrend, spacing between the moving averages. This is exactly what you look for, and I think this can go higher. Nat gas was all over the map today. You're going to see it says we were green here because of the contract was green, but the rollover continuous shows it's red. Either way, it still has a decent pattern here. And if this remains firm, kind of like crude here, I think this gets up to 280 and then 3. But right now, a little bit of a pullback there after that contract gap, but pattern is still pretty good on the daily. Dollar, that was the story of the day. So this got absolutely destroyed. And this trend line just absolutely not really helping out, right? Because when you consolidate above a level, it makes it weaker. So that did break. Again, I'm looking for 100, spot 50. Again, stone's throw away, not that far. And then if we get through that, it's double bottom. I think one of these two levels probably lines up with the levels I gave you on all those yields. So I'm kind of watching for that to line up over the next couple of days. It could even happen tomorrow, right? We could get to 150 tomorrow. It's, you know, we were down this much today. We're closer to that than we were to yesterday's close, right? So it's not that far away. So I'll be watching this and yields pretty closely. But I think the dollar's a little overdone here to the downside in the near term. And we'll be watching 150 or double bottom. I think that's going to be the level there for the DXY to possibly put in a tradable low. Gold here, conversely, obviously having a pretty good day. It did come off the highs, though. I talked about a retest of 21, and it got there. So short term, you know, it hit that 21 handle. I just want to take a fib here. Yeah, so we hit a 618 as well. It'll be interesting to see what this does tomorrow. Again, if the dollar finds support at one of those levels, we'd expect gold to pull back here. I do think gold has a good year next year, but again, I'm not so convinced with what I think is going to happen with yields in the first quarter. I think that could cause precious metals to back off, and I think that would be an epic buying opportunity. Big 4 capital letters, epic buying opportunity for precious metals. Silver here also all over the map today. A little kind of spitting top look, but no problems here with this pattern. If this consolidates, it can go higher. May need to go retest this trend line one more time, but that is hanging in there just fine. Platinum contract rollover as well. Little gap and go though. Again, I don't like when you have that. I just don't like those contract gaps. They tend to fill, so be careful with it. But if it gets above this trend line, which it's peaking above it right now, we'll look at 1040. But I'm watching this because this is a pretty good trend line. We tried breaking out of it once, and it failed. Now we have hit it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, so we can break out this time, but you might need to pull back a little bit first. You might need to fill this gap first. But I like what Platinum's doing. It's acting well, and you guys know I've been bullish on that for really the last month or two. And the same thing for Palladium, a little bit of a pullback there. Nothing wrong, right? We were at 930, 3 weeks ago, and then we went all the way up to 1250. It's going to pull back. That is not out of the ordinary. But I think dips on this are a buying opportunity. And you guys know I've been saying to accumulate it down here. So hopefully you have been. Anyways, copper up 1.3, pulled back in off the highs. Again, we'll give it the upside bias to 4 to 405. Well, 403, we'll say there's that pivot right about 402, 403. So we'll give that the upside bias there. I do like how you closed above this red though. So that's a positive there for copper, but you still have this big pivot just above $4. And that's really the next level I'm looking at for copper futures. Lastly, Bitcoin here, still hanging in there. So right at the 43 handle, a little bit of a slice yesterday and then right back up today. Again, ETH still acting well. Nice pattern there, especially even on the weekly. If that continues to base, that can go up. So again, these patterns here are pretty good. Litecoin had that big pop, came back in. Solana pulling back. This one might be a little tired. Be careful with Solana. I would trail stop if you own it. Maybe take some profits, something of that nature. Cardano, good pattern there. That could be a runner here too. I'm just kind of find a level because I haven't looked at it. Yeah, we'll just say 78 to 80. That's a good pattern, right? Bullish inside bar. That's getting ready to go. So I like that one there. Bitcoin here, but still holding up. Again, we'll still give it the upside bias to 48. While we're on the topic too, we were talking about this in the trading room earlier. I just want to talk about Coinbase because this is running up on the anticipation of the spot ETF, but it's kind of funny, right? Like you could make a case that the spot ETF is actually super bearish for Coinbase because TD Ameritrade or Schwab now, Fidelity, all these brokers will have spot Bitcoin available, and they will have commission-free trades on that. Whereas Coinbase charges pretty good fees. I understand Bitcoin running up on the Bitcoin ETF news. I understand the Bitcoin miners running up on the ETF news, but Coinbase specifically seems kind of asinine. That said, it did have a nice inverse head and shoulders. And that is actually played out to target. So we just take that there and copy it. It's basically right at the target there. So we'll give it the upside bias. We'll just say 200. Again, I'm just doing this right now because we were talking about it in the trading room, and obviously this has been a hot commodity, a hot runner. Now, does that mean I would short this? Absolutely not. Not at least until that ETF news comes out, or until you get a high volume reversal. Then I think you could short it with a stop above the high. But I just think that the fundamental case is worth dipping into here. But that has been a runner, and it's been a train. We'll give it the upside bias to 200. But just, it's funny how the market works sometimes. Anyways, back over here to the S&P. You're going to see here we closed above that red. So I'm going to give the market the upside bias to 48K and possibly even 48.18. Hey, maybe they do it by the end of the year and get everybody feeling good before New Year's. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on CarnivoreTrades.com. I'll talk to you guys all tomorrow.